This is the beautiful townhouse that Taylor Swift purchased just recently for $20 million. Doesn't look like it should cost $20 million, but it does. Those are the prices in New York. Now, what she did too is she combined another apartment in a condominium right next door. The second floor. It looks like she's taking over the entire second floor to make it an incredibly huge space for her townhouse. You can see this. She recently purchased a second floor apartment for $10 million, which kind of makes sense since in the same building she owns the entire top floor. Right there. It's amazing. Pretty soon she's going to take over the whole building, which I can see happening. It would make sense since you'll have the townhouse here and then also beautiful apartments, two beautiful apartments on the second floor, as you see there, and then also on the very top floor. It's just going to be an incredible move on Taylor Swift's part. Now we'll also take a look at the neighborhood around 153 and 155 Franklin Street. There are many famous people that live around here in this neighborhood. You can see their neighboring building, 151 Franklin. It's just beautiful. You can understand why people really like this area because the apartments are just huge and they have no columns. Very little separation. These were former factories about 100 years ago, and they were designed to be able to hold heavy machinery. That's why they had such a sturdy construction. And there you see another part, Manhattan, right there. But we'll take a turn. We're looking west now, and we'll look east from the buildings. Just slowly turning. Just take a look east. You can see the other really nice large buildings around here. And there are some of the other buildings there. Well, I'm sure the famous people that live in this neighborhood, these are probably their second or third homes because they're so wealthy that they should have a second or a third home. And again, in this building too, you have Aziz Ansari, you have Jeff Soderbergh, and actually the guy who directed Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson, he's the guy who used to own that top floor apartment before he sold it to Taylor Swift in 2014. Now, this is actually looking north from the apartment and from the buildings, just to give people an idea of what's on the other side, because you were just seeing one side of where the building was and you weren't quite clear on, or the audience wasn't quite clear on what the other buildings looked like. Now, this building here that we're looking at is exactly opposite the townhouse and exactly opposite the condominium complex. So you can see the great structure, well, the great structures and the great architecture that's here in Manhattan. Here we're just taking a closer view at the $20 million townhouse, because I'm sure there are many people in the world and in the United States that would like that closer view, just to see what it looks like, to better understand how people can buy a place like this and what kind of architecture they like. Here's another view, just a little nicer view of this 3-story townhouse, just to see what it looks like. Just beautiful. Imagine coming in and out of this house every single day, or whenever you're in New York. That would be really ideal. In here, closer view of the condominium. Again, that second floor that you see, that's Taylor Swift's floor, $10 million. And then the top floor, again, that's Taylor Swift's top floor. But you can just take a look and see what this looks like, just to see what the neighborhood is like. It's really interesting to see. You can see there's work being done on it because there are all these lines from the utilities marking where things are going in, where things are going out. And of course, if someone has enough money, they can do a lot of things. You can see those windows are just beautiful. And for buildings around here that have been renovated, it makes a big difference. Don't forget, about 30 years ago, this neighborhood was no man's land. No one wanted to live here. It was dangerous, quiet, empty. So people that were pioneers ended up buying lofts. And then they made it very, very popular. And now many, many people just love this neighborhood because the loft space is so huge and there's no columns in the apartment. So it just makes it a wonderful place to be. And this is the store at 155 Franklin Street. Here's another view of 155 Franklin Street, just so you can see what the inside looks like and what's going on in the neighborhood. Another view from a little bit of a distance, just to give you perspective what Taylor's townhouse looks like and what her condominiums at 155 Franklin Street look like.